Welcome friends to the Do Less Be More channel. I'm Amy and today I want to talk about clutter. I want to talk about what clutter actually means, and I want to offer some simple things that you can do to start living clutter-free today. But before we dive in, I invite you to support my little channel by subscribing. I release weekly videos on all things productivity, organization, mental health, self-awareness, and spirituality. And I take video requests. So if you'd like me to create a video for you, I invite you to fill out my video request form, the link for which is in the description of this video. Okay, let's dive into clutter. So a good place to start would be understanding what exactly clutter is. Here's how I define clutter. A clutter is a disorganized accumulation of postponed decisions. Clutter is typically a pile of things unwanted and in excess, things we don't know what to do about. Clutter evokes feelings of heaviness, a sense of lacking control, and it causes distress. Ultimately, though, clutter is a result of procrastination. It's the result of putting off making decisions. So we can all agree that it is stressful to be in a cluttered environment. Yes? Though the scale of tolerance for clutter and therefore the felt level of stress associated with clutter can vary greatly from individual to individual depending on a wide variety of factors such as personality type or the home you grew up in or even unhealed trauma, clutter in all its forms does not generally elicit the feelings we as humans all desire to have, like a sense of calm or peace or joy. Right? What clutter does make us feel is immobilized, incapable, uncertain, insecure, anxious. And it's important to note that clutter and all those postponed decisions isn't limited to the chaos that is the dumping ground in your spare room. Okay, clutter can certainly manifest physically, piles of paper on the countertop or an overflowing garage. It can also manifest mentally, right, as a jumbled mess of fears or ideas that are lacking clarity. It can be digital, so as in 35,000 unread emails and a disarray of unorganized photos on the cloud somewhere. Emotionally, clutter can arise emotionally as negative thought patterns and limiting core beliefs keeping you stuck. And there's even such a thing as spiritual clutter. So this might look like a buildup of resentment and denial of your more shadowy aspects of self. And all these types of clutter are the result of us avoiding making decisions. So whether your clutter is of things or thoughts or emails or emotions, my invitation to you is to look at where you are leaving yourself hanging. What decision or decisions have you been avoiding making? I invite you to get real with yourself and look at that pile of, say, unopened mail and ask yourself, what decision am I postponing by not opening this mail? Is it about when or how I'm going to pay that bill? Is it a decision about switching over to digital billing or automating bill payments or canceling something? Perhaps it's a decision about whether you need to shred the contents of the envelope or not. Most of the decisions we avoid making that are causing this buildup of clutter are not life or death decisions, right? They are usually quite simple. It's the avoidance of them that causes the bigger problem. The guilt, the anxiety, the overwhelm that amasses from every little decision that we procrastinate on is far more complicated to deal with than the decision itself, especially as we allow time to pass and dust to collect on those unmade decisions. They get heavier with time. It's really important to recognize that every decision procrastinated on is tethering you to the past. You cannot create your best life chained to a pile of unmade decisions. So the first thing you got to do is get rid of the pile you've already created, right? Take the time and start deciding. Know that a decision made is better than avoidance, and each decision you do make, regardless of the outcome, is moving you forward, is freeing you up just a little bit more. And the second thing that you need to do is to get better at making decisions in the moment. Start trusting yourself more. Allow yourself to be who you want to be in the future instead of chaining yourself to the past. I want to offer you 3 simple ways that you can begin building this decision-making muscle so that you can stop procrastinating and start living a clutter-free life. Number 1, make your bed. The very first decision you are faced with every day once your feet hit the floor in the morning is whether or not to make your bed. Doing so immediately is your first habit in the morning to set you off for a clutter-free inspired day. By not postponing your first task, your first decision, you're more likely to overcome procrastination for the rest of the day. In this example, momentum is created from the very first action you take. Okay, so make your bed. Number 2, never leave a room empty-handed. As you're moving through your space, bring things with you that don't belong and put them in their homes. Remember, everything you own should have a place to live. If it doesn't, do you really need it? And if the answer is yes, then likely it belongs somewhere that is full of things that aren't needed anymore. So you need to make a decision. What doesn't belong? What needs to go? Here's a tip for figuring out where things should live, okay? If you don't know where something belongs, ask yourself, if I was looking for this thing in an emergency, where's the first place I would go to get it? Okay, follow your instincts. The third tip that I have for you to help exercise this decision-making muscle and decrease the clutter buildup in your life is to deal with email the first time you read it. Now, stay with me on this one as it's potent and has a few layers to it. Email is one of the biggest sources of overwhelm for my clients when it comes to digital and mental clutter. And the simplest way to mitigate email clutter is to live by the Ohio rule. Only handle it once. This means you're making a decision about the email the very first time you open it. And your decision comes down to the 4 Ds. Delete, delegate, defer, or do. So you're going to delete it because you've decided it's irrelevant, or you're going to delegate it because you've decided it's a better use of someone else's resources, or you're going to defer it because you've decided it's important and your responsibility, so you're scheduling a time in your calendar to take action on that email, or you're going to do it, which brings us to another rule I have for my clients live by, the 2-minute rule. Now, the 2-minute rule says, if I can tackle this in 2 minutes or less, I'm going to do it now and do it well. Now, all of this presupposes that you have consciously made the decision that you can be attentive with your emails. So another tip I have for you here is this. Do not check your emails from your phone. Most of us cannot handle every single email from our phone. Sometimes we need resources from our computer, or we might need to coordinate with others and a calendar in order to action an email. So unless you are that very, very rare individual who can absolutely take the time now to effectively process whatever awaits you in the unknown territory of unread emails, do not check them from your phone. So to recap on the 3 ways that you can stop procrastinating on decision making and start creating a clutter-free life for yourself today are: 1, make your bed as soon as your feet hit the floor. 2, never leave a room empty-handed. And 3, only handle an email once. Clutter and the overwhelm that comes with it builds up fast if you aren't creating good decision-making habits to help prevent the buildup. And prevention is key. Not only will you naturally experience less clutter in your life, but the better that you get at making decisions as you go, the more readily you will experience calm, peace, and joy. Now I want to know, when you look at your clutter, what decision is it that you've been avoiding? Share in the comments and be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week on the Do Less Be More channel.